You know who is a real son of a bitch? David Seville. You know, from Alvin and the Chipmunks. Why, Brad? Why is David Seville a real son of a bitch? Well, let me tell you. He's actually quite awful. Have you ever listened to the Chipmunks song? It generally played around this time of year. It starts off with good old Theodore, Simon, kissing Dave's ass. Why are they kissing his butt? You know why they're kissing his butt. Dave tries to get Alvin's attention. It kind of starts off like this. Alvin! Whoa, buddy. Whoa! Dave, take it easy. He's a kid. How did you get to adopt these animals? Plus, you are making some serious coin on these kids. You went from the doghouse to the penthouse, buddy. I got one word to say to you, all listeners. Trauma. That's what he did to Alvin. I wouldn't be surprised if Alvin is doing stuff under a bridge downtown. We can't talk about that kind of stuff on this podcast because we don't want an expletive rating. That's why I think David Seville is one awful son of a bitch. And on that note, I'm calling on all of our listeners. I'm calling on you to wipe out the Chipmunk song from North American Christmas culture. It's obvious emotional abuse of Alvin. All I want is a hula hoop. My ass! They're all getting locked in a cage after they record that bloody song. This is my contribution to the cancel culture movement of 2021. And on that note, welcome to Those Canadian Lads podcast, episode 7, the monthly Sesh. Welcome, Geoff. How you doing? It's our holiday edition.
I'm not too bad, Brad. And yourself?
I'm doing fantastic.
So, in your estimate, Dave is the modern David Seville is the modern enslaver of is it Jesse Jackson and Ike Turner? He's of that ilk. Is that what we're getting at here?
No, I'm telling you, David Seville is one awful guy. You listen to that Soul soundtrack, and maybe it's this. Maybe it's because those songs are being drilled into my head like a Makita drill sawing my brain. I may have listened to each of those songs in that Christmas album by the Chipmunks a few too many times, and I don't think Jesse Jackson was an enslaver, by the way. He's
beat his family. Oh no, sorry, Michael Jackson's dad. Right?
Oh yeah, not Jesse Jackson.
The manager of the Jackson 5.
We apologize to Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, I apologize.
On his podcast, if he has a podcast. I'm sorry. I had to take my hand in a little bit of satire. That song drives me nuts. And
go ahead.
No, and he's a bit of an asshole. It's a song obviously written in like the 50s and 60s. And this guy pulled in, chipmunk money. And all he's doing is abusing kids, man. Or
chipmunk ladies. Getting chipmunk ladies and chipmunk groupies.
Wheeling. He's wheeling.
In all honesty, if you had brought up the chip, you just said you've listened to it routinely. I'm assuming the family factor is playing into this a little bit.
My children love.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. See, I would have actually assumed that it didn't exist anymore. I don't really see that popping up on Sports Center or during the nightly news. So in my world, it already kind of gone away to a certain extent. But if it'll come back. But if we're gonna get rid of things and cancel culture or something, can I bring up Charlie Brown and the Peanuts gang then?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I have nothing against it other than the fact that it's horrific and terrible to watch. I can't stand the pumpkin one, the Christmas tree one, and then I like that adults nowadays will have their garbage Christmas trees and be like, "Whoa, it's my Charlie Brown Christmas tree." It's just like, what's wrong with you? You can't spend $35. Go get a fake one, and the fake one will just take care of itself from here on out. I don't get why there's a point of pride about having this terrible tree associated with a terrible cartoon and a terrible comic strip that somehow has survived for as long as it has.
Is that not the most depressing shit you can watch at Christmas time? Like, honestly, it's like Charlie Brown moping around.
Well, it's like, and I like the absentee parents the whole time. Like, all it is a little sound in the background. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, these parents have no interest in what their kids are doing. And going back to the pumpkin one, it's just like, oh yeah, these I don't know, 6-year-old kids are gonna sleep in a pumpkin patch. Yeah, I can tell you who's coming. It ain't the Great Pumpkin. I guess we're gonna get that rating we just talked about.
Oh, we're having fun on those Canadian Lads podcast tonight. So, Geoff, we got a few topics to cover tonight, and actually some positive ones. And it's our monthly sesh. So, last time you came out with a few gripes of your own, and I've got one. And I'll touch on one that you had a while back. But we also want to touch on some positive news, like I mentioned. I'm really pumped about this. It came out today in the news. The Major League Baseball has pretty much brought in the Negro Leagues of Baseball as formerly Major League Baseball, professional baseball. Records are going to be changed. These great players of their era are going to be recognized in the record books. Their families are going to be, so pumped about that their grandparents and, fathers and are going to be, recognized as some of the greats of the game.
A simple thing for Major League Baseball to do, and just to kind of once again cast a light on the fact that there was quality players and great players in that league that were just cast aside for so long. Now, obviously, there's been a resurgence. Baseball did right by the Jackie Robinson days stuff, but it's just it's probably just been a little bit too long. But so it's a great move on baseball's part, and I'm glad to finally see they're doing it. The unfortunate part of baseball history is that a lot of the records from those days, like Babe Ruth's home run record, and then it's like, well, what would he have been had he been able to pitch against every man who was good at baseball? And we'll never know the answer to that type of thing. And I know there's baseball and it's the eras in which sports are played. Like, you can't take records from back then and necessarily associate them with today's records. But no, it's a stand-up move on baseball's part, and I'm definitely glad to see it in the same way that you are.
Oh, yeah. No, when I read that news today, it really actually took me aback. I'm like, wow, some positive news in 2020. Like, that is fantastic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, and I'm not necessarily saying if this was great news, positive news, but it's better than not. The Cleveland Indians have finally decided to move on from their name as well. Obviously, I think it was 3 years ago, they moved away from Chief Wahoo. Quite frankly, as a kid, I love that hat. I wanted it. Chose not to get it because I wasn't really a fan of the team or like that. But you didn't know what the history was as a kid or anything like that, right? So when you're 12 years old or 14 and pro fit hats are a symbol of prestige in junior high or high school, you don't know how people are perceiving that necessarily, especially in Edmonton, Alberta. Like, there's not that. And quite frankly, most of the people I saw wearing that hat were of that ilk. And yeah, as I said, a lot of kids on the bus and near West Edmonton Mall wearing that. Yeah, it's good. But as I said, I'm quite happy to see the Cleveland Indians move on from that name. I think they're still going to rock that name next year, and so they're hoping to unload some of the merchandise. So that's a little bit of I don't know how to take that, but yeah, still a good move.
Well, consider yourself one lucky son of a bitch, because you can wear a pro fit hat and I can't. So
yeah, I got a normal sized head. I don't know where you went wrong in life, but.
I blame my father.
Don't we all blame our parents? And a perfect thing we can bring up on a Christmas episode.
Merry Christmas, Dad! Thanks for the large head.
So you said you had some positive news, but you had some gripes that I'm assuming you wanted to address.
You know what? I obviously want to keep the podcast as positive as possible. We're going into 2021. Booyah. But next year, it's going to be good. But we're currently still in 2020. So I want to bring some stuff up. So one, Christmas, I know it's not canceled, but it's affecting all of us. The closures, the lockdowns. I'm not going to be able to see anybody from my family during Christmas or the extended family, whatever, right? But this year we're locked down. It's going to be just the four of us in the house. That being said, so walking to pick the little gentleman up from school today, and going into the schoolyard, and I notice two Karens running to each other, giving each other the biggest hug I've ever seen in my life. No masks on. And let me just provide some color to the listener. Most of the cases are in an area that I live in Edmonton. I'm not going to say that area, but it's in that area. Man, I was like vibrating. I'm like, this is the exact reason why this shit isn't happening this year. Do not hug each other in a field. And it's two hockey moms. Just And how do I know they're hockey moms? The hockey mom was wearing a hoodie that said hockey mom on it. Okay?
Of course.
You don't go rock a hockey mom hoodie not being a hockey mom. I was vibrating, Geoff. That was just, we're in the middle of this thing, trying to get through it. We're all buying in. I'm working from home. You're working from home, doing our part. And Karen and Karen are sitting there giving each other a hug. Oh, it's so good to see you. Stop it.
I like the passion. Passion.
Man, wouldn't you, come on. You don't want to work from home.
No, absolutely not. No, as I said, for the listener, I have moved from my unfinished basement up to a spare bedroom that I don't know why we have it. To be honest, we don't use it for anything. But no, I'd rather prefer to go into my office and actually have a nice quiet work environment. This is easier. So
I blame Karen and Karen.
Super
spreaders. Guarantee they have it, and they're super spreading.
So I've got a question because of the area of the city / suburbs where I live. I could identify this person quite easily myself, but did the individuals have large sunglasses and drive an exorbitantly large SUV?
I didn't see what they're driving, but I'm assuming that they did.
Okay, well then picture perfect. Picture perfect.
If I could paint a picture of these two individuals, you would know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, you could pick him out of a lineup easy. It's funny. It always looks like the same person. Like, don't get me wrong. As somebody who looks like generic white dude, yeah, you can pick out these people as well. So,
Karen, fix your shit.
I got a little bit of a gripe myself, and I received some angering news today from my brother, actually. And my brother is a small business owner in the city. He provides lawn care and snow removal, does a great job, built the company up over, a decade. And he calls me today while we're talking and just catching up a little bit. He informs me that his storage locker that contains all of his summer equipment has been broken into and robbed. And obviously, as his brother, I that obviously drives me up the wall because my family's been hurt by this. It's ridiculous. But there's honor amongst thieves, and that's not a true statement or like that. But you break into someone's storage locker, you can clearly see that this is equipment used by somebody who runs a small business. You're not knocking off a giant corporation. You're not taking a swing at Nike. Or somebody would say pirating a movie, but I know they always have that warning to say hey, these are people that work on the movie. You're stealing from them as well. But when you're doing your dirtbag move so that you can have a little bit more meth, because we're in Edmonton and quite frankly, apparently we're leading the city in COVID, syphilis, and AIDS, I believe. So I'm going to assume people are making bad choices out there. But what the hell's in your head? Why can't you just do the right thing? Is it the holiday season too? It's even better. Come on, what is wrong with you?
You're not a thief.
Oh, yeah.
You're not a thief. And
I just steal hearts.
Thieves don't give a shit. Why do they care if he's a small business owner or not?
Well, clearly not.
I'm going to link this back to Karen. COVID's spreading like crazy. People are out of work. The economy's in the dog shit economy. People who most likely, aren't employed right now, they're hurting. And then there's a segment of the population that will do anything either to put food on their family's table. And I'm not condoning robbing anyone, but it's just what we're dealing with right now. It's just a fact of the situation where we have to, as a society, deal with more crime. Crime's up. Everything's up in the negative column this year. And COVID, let's stop spreading the COVID. And the other thing too is like, I feel for Paul. Man, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into a company for 10 plus years, and that's labor intensive work. Absolutely. To have some dirtbag go and take all your stuff, especially, that's your livelihood. So that's terrible. That's terrible news. And I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. As I said, like, we talked it out. He's gone through the stages and he's working his way through the system to kind of get everything set forward. But as I said, it's just one of those situations where, as I said, yeah, I get it. People are in dire needs on occasion. Sometimes that loaf of bread. Yeah, as I said, if I see some cartoon character kid like in Aladdin stealing a loaf of bread, I'm not going to say tickety boo because, hey, you got to eat. But this is not that case. Or at least I don't believe it is, but.
I once saw a kid shoplifting out of a Safeway. He had a whole basket full of food. He had bread in that basket as well. A car hit him. He got nicked by a car, fell down, kept on running.
Good for him. That's commitment. That's commitment. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to being one of those old guys who casually forgets that he put grapes in his pocket at the grocery store and just walk out. That's how I'm stealing my produce, or like a bag of like hazelnuts or something.
Give him 5 years in the clinker for that.
Yeah.
Who the hell eats hazelnuts?
Hey, I assume they're healthy. They must be because they're not that good in flavor. So.
Delicious. Welcome to Those Canadian Lads podcast, brought to you by hazelnuts.
Hazelnuts and pecans. And not the candied ones, just regular pecans.
Oh no, candied pecans. So good, buddy.
Oh,
on your salad? On your salad?
Yeah, I don't need sugar added to everything. I can go with just that. But as a result, I don't need anything fun either. And then when I do, I crush like a bag of M&Ms from Costco. So.
I haven't had any sugar since September. I'm dying.
Oh, hey, 'tis the season. Time to join in.
All right. No, well, that's, we've went down my my negative rap.
You only had one person to complain about? Jeez, like I
got another. So this is linked back to your situation with people not putting their shopping carts back into the shopping cart trolley. So save on foods. I like to do the old pull through with the old pickup truck. Do the pull through, easy to exit out. Don't like to back up, just, blind spots, all that kind of good stuff. So pull into the stall, see an open stall, see a shopping cart left, literally right in front of the stall in front of me. Why? Why would you do that? So you know what I did because of that?
You put it away?
I left my shopping cart in the middle of the road.
Oh, you're the worst kind of person. It's like, I just went away. I just went along with it.
I'm buying into it. No, I'm just doing it because you know what? If everybody else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. Peer pressure. Just do it.
I think when we... Well, I was going to say, I think when we had the Geneva trials after World War II, I don't think they found those guards to be innocent because they went with the flow. I gotta
fact check you. I don't think that's a Geneva trial.
Don't ever fact check
me. Nuremberg's bad. Nuremberg trial.
Nuremberg trial. I'm
gonna fact check you every time you bring some. Jesse Jackson's rolling. Is he dead? He might be rolling in his grave right now.
Jeez. I don't think he's dead. I did see that. I did see that Tina forgave Ike last week out of her book, apparently, but he's been dead for like 13 years. So.
Way to throw that one out there.
yeah. Merry Christmas. Ike Turner's not coming over today.
That guy was a terrible person.
Yeah, very much so.
What Love Got to Do with It is a great movie.
I don't remember seeing
Yeah,
it.
Jesse Jackson, 79, still alive, still kicking.
There you go. Well, good for him. Good for him. So we've obviously been talking about Christmas, and obviously it's a time for tradition, time for family, stuffing your face with turkey and stuffing, two of my favorite things. But obviously we're gonna miss out this year, and that's very unfortunate. So I don't know. I just like it's probably a good opportunity to make new traditions. And I'm not saying I've been good at this, but obviously with the family kicking around, Brad, what are you guys doing to kind of try to make Christmas all the same for the kids?
Well, let me tell you.
A curveball, sorry.
No, it's not a curveball. It's to be honest with you, it's going to be pretty low key. You know, some of the things we like to do, obviously, is check out Christmas lights. My brother had an amazing Christmas light display before he moved on to another part of Western Canada. But
it sounded like you were going to say like he's passed on.
He's left this earthly plane of Edmonton, Alberta.
Poor brother.
And if you're listening, brother, I'm sorry.
But he would do a good job on his lights then.
Oh man, did a great job. I'm giving him kudos on that for sure. If he was on Candy Cane Lane, he'd be getting the old double thumbs up. People would be throwing food bank donations in his bin. It'd be good times. But no, we're gonna do the old Christmas light thing. Try to do it tied in closer to the Christmas season. Around the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th. That type of season.
Just gonna go repeatedly over the holiday.
Every day. Candy Cane Lane. Here we come.
But you can still drive. You can still drive down there. You just can't get out of your car. That's the case.
I'm guessing that they're probably going to prefer you to drive through it and not be Karen and hug each other on the sidewalk, right? So no, we're going to check out the Christmas light display, Candy Cane Lane. Whoa, man! In Edmonton, what amazing job these people do every year. It's so it's going to be disappointing because it's kind of going to be kind of different. But they used to have sleigh rides. You could go on a horse-drawn carriage. I think that's what it's called, a carriage or a big trailer that you sit on while the horse craps in your face. But kids loved it, so that was good. There's a guy, weirdly, I hope he's paid because he's dressed up as the Grinch and he kind of walks around, handing out candy canes. So
you hope he's just out some tent city guy making his way through the crowd.
Yeah, not like the clown that used to walk around K-Days and the K-Days parade. And he wasn't he wasn't paid by anybody. He was just there hanging around, hanging out.
That's how you infiltrate. That's how you just got to look as if you're supposed to be there. I think I have one memory of Candy Cane Lane, and I couldn't tell you what age I would have been, but I do seem to recall the family piling into the company station or the family station wagon.
Did you wear a seatbelt?
I'm assuming yes, but at the same time, I really couldn't be too certain. The one thing I do remember is I think the intention was we were going to walk, but it was probably too cold. So we're bundled up in our snowsuits. I'm probably just sweating my ass off as a kid in the backseat. My grandmother's jawing at my mom about something she did and complaining and whatever, and just boiling in this thing. And I remember I called my dad, probably trying to take it at 60 kilometers an hour because everyone was just like, "We're getting the hell out of here right away."
Giving people a horn.
Yeah, just move it along. I have like one horrible memory of Candy Cane Lane. I don't think I've ever been back. I'm just traumatized.
So Candy Cane Lane is great. Check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it now as an adult.
Maybe.
Or maybe traumatized again for some reason. Maybe spill your coffee on your lap.
Yeah, I'll put on long johns, get bundled up.
Turn the heat up to high so you get that sweat on, get that experience back. And then going down to the ledge grounds, man, what an awesome display the provincial government puts on, the light display. Hopefully it's good this year because who knows if they have the funds to put something decent on. But the ledge grounds, and generally around New Year's we'd go check out the firework display as well, but that is not happening again this year because of COVID-19.
COVID claims that's another thing that New Year's Eve, I've never really gone to go check out the fireworks. I happened to be downtown a few times and just happened to catch a spray off a building, but never really been one of those things. I'm really just starting to realize I'm sounding like a Grinch about Christmas, like, oh, terrible family memories, and then avoiding it. But no, is that like I think the ledge grounds are quite well done. Usually, I think they are done up this year. As I said, it's a nice quiet walk to take through, and if the weather's cooperating, Edmonton can be quite nice with the freshly fallen snow, Christmas lights everywhere. It's a nice thing to go. I do. One thing I am definitely missing this year, though, is a tradition of ours has always been going to the Citadel Christmas Carol performance, and whether it be the traditional one that they did for the previous 22 years, I'm going to screw up the years, but 22 years, and then they swapped it out last year and made it a little bit more modern, as if it's a 1950s. I don't know, store. They do always do a great job with it, so it's one of those things that I'm definitely missing this year. Now, truth be told, I think I saw that they are doing an online version of it. So if you ever get a chance to check it out, I definitely recommend you do it. So
we've I think attended one year with you and your lovely wife, and it was pretty cool. But it just kind of I recalled a memory of my first time, because this is at the Citadel Theater, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so I just recalled a memory of going to the Citadel Theater. I think it was in grade 11 or grade 12, and they were doing Othello, and they're obviously in period costumes, and this poor actress, not poor actress, she was in her period costume, putting on a great show for all these horny teenagers, and she's got her bust out. And literally, she knew all of these, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids are just googly eyeing her. And it's that had to have been the worst experience ever. What do you mean there's another high school coming to watch us do this?
I'm sure in today's modern age with the camera phones and every kid having a camera, it's got to be worse now. Could you imagine that flash going off and some pervy kid running out of the theater? I always think, though, whenever I go to one of these events, whether it be a nice play at the Citadel or a concert downtown, I inevitably make the same mistake that I always do, in that we go out for a nice meal beforehand and I eat way too much. And then you maybe have a glass of wine or a couple beers or a whiskey. But I always find myself sitting in the chair, just bloated out of my mind, trying to make sure that I'm just God, if I pass gas, I'm going to ruin it for everyone around me. I got to really just have a salad and not do anything before I go to one of these performances.
No, man, own it. Own it.
No, well, I could own a row if I mistakenly lean over or something like that. But outside of that, obviously, we're talking about the food a little bit, but one of the things that I really enjoy is Christmas movies, because you can't really watch them at any other time of the year, or if you do, you're a psychopath. I'm willing
you're a weirdo.
Yeah, I'm willing to throw that gauntlet down immediately. If you watch Muppets Christmas Carol in July, we should lock you up. There's something wrong with you. But that is one of my favorite Christmas.
Somebody's
movies.
Listening to me I watch A Christmas Carol in July.
Well, you need to be told that you're crazy. That's an indication. If you're talking in the corner at an ETS bus stop, they'll treat you like you're crazy. If you watch Muppets Christmas Carol in July, you're crazy. That's what it is. But no, I love that movie. I've loved that movie since I was a kid. One of the funny things actually I read about this week was that when I was a kid, the version we had on VHS, it had a song where Scrooge's wife, his fiance of 15 years, is taken off on him, and they do a whole song, and then it shows Gonzo and Rizzo the Rat crying, and it's just I remember that just wrecked my soul. I was totally destroyed, and it's just ready to just cry my ass off. But we bought a new version of it, and that song's gone. And I was I thought it was one of those Bernstein Bear things. I'm did I imagine that song?
It's actually the Bernstein Bears.
Bernstein Bears, sorry. So yeah, that Mandela effect thing. This week, I read an article. It was shut down by Disney. They removed that song from the movie because they thought kids couldn't handle the real life implication of a married couple breaking up. that it was too heavy for children. And I was like, yeah, well, it is the only two like actual human actors in the movie splitting up. But no, as like I said, it was like a mystery solved for me for the first time in like 25 years. I was ecstatic to read that.
That's pretty interesting. That's some crazy stuff. Let me ask you, Jeffrey, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
I'm gonna go with that one, but the next one after that is definitely Christmas Vacation. Anything National Lampoons, minus the next two, that Vegas Vacation, and I don't know what was the one up before Vegas Vacation, but the Christmas Vacation movie is phenomenal. I know everyone says like Chevy Chase must be a real a-hole, but I love him as Clark Griswold and is just a bumbling idiot father and dad. So
you know what? He nailed that role. That is an all-time classic movie. Look, Russ, you can't even see the line.
Yeah, exactly. And it was one of those weird things too, is like Beverly D'Angelo is smoking hot in those movies. So I definitely watch.
No, she's not.
Yeah, she is. She's a hot mom, man. You don't say anything about Beverly, okay?
Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah. She's probably like 40 years older than I am, unfortunately, at this point.
So we got a chance to experience, I think, a nice Christmas tradition, obviously, with the kids the other night, is we watched Home Alone for the first time. And let me tell you, it's nice to see that your kids have the same sense of humor as you do. When you see an individual step on a nail that's through a shingle and they see their dad laugh and they laugh, you know you're painting that road of just, disturbing humor for the rest of their lives.
It is funny that like Home Alone for most of us is probably that first foray into like almost Jackass style movies where
like,
we're gonna watch a human being get hit in the face with a brick and not die.
Dad, when is he gonna step on those Christmas ornaments?
That movie, I can't remember. I think I read the article like years ago, but it was like something like 37 incidents where they would have died throughout that movie.
Oh yeah, bro, when they take the paint can to the head and they fall down the stairs, like you break your neck.
Oh, absolutely. They would have been totally right to kill him in the sequel. When they got a hold of Macaulay Culkin in New York and just drowned him in the river, I'd be like, okay, I get it.
Threw him off the top of Trump Tower. Just threw him. Just throw him off.
Yeah. We did the same thing. We actually watched the 1 and 2 a couple of weeks ago just to kind of get the Christmas spirit. And that is awesome, just seeing Donald Trump walk through the lobby of his own hotel and demand to be in a movie.
We had that experience happen to us. Remember when you and I saw Wayne Gretzky in his own restaurant. In Rogers Place.
Yeah.
So what an ego trip that must be.
The only part of that story that truly needs to be told, though, is that I was too much of a wuss to go up and say hi. I might have even been wearing the jersey that evening. I can't believe how bad I wussed out.
Man, when you saw 50-year-old men, whispering to their buddy, like, oh my God, that's Wayne Gretzky over there. Should we go talk to him? Yeah, he wants you to go talk to him because he's sitting in the restaurant that has his name on it. Yeah. The picture of his goddamn dad is on the wall with him. There's Gordy, the Gordy picture. Yeah, Wayne Gretzky wants you to go talk to him in his own restaurant because he flew down to Edmonton, guaranteed. I know we're going off a little sidetrack. He flew down to Edmonton, and old Wayner's like, Janet, I gotta go fill those Oiler juices. I'm flying down. So Keith and Wayne and his boys are sitting there, and the old boys, come on, you want to see what celebrity looks like? You want to see what a legend your dad is? He made grown men turn into 5-year-old little boys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, as I said, the guys who were willing to go up and say something were just probably shaking the whole time. I couldn't even get off my bar stool. I was just totally wussed out. I don't even think I ate. I think I just sat there trying to get the will to go over. But I'm sure he would have been perfectly happy with everyone sending him over a bottle of wine and not coming to talk to him either.
Poor waiter.
Quick question, and I saw this on Twitter, so it's kind of off the cuff, but there was a question posted by the Oilers. Who was your favorite Oiler from when you were 12 years old?
Oh, man.
Are you able to answer that question?
Who is yours? I'm going to look up just give me a second.
So my 12th year on this planet was apparently during the shortened season. I totally forgot about, but it was when Doug Waite finally was one of those marquee guys in the NHL who was a point a game guy. So it was a quick, easy answer. It was Doug Weight, but it was funny. Like we were looking at the roster, and you're like, "Holy man!" Like Jason Arnott had a long career, and Doug Weight did. I think Boris Mironov was on that team, and I think he set the land speed record on the white mud here in town at one point. But but yeah, that was not a solid team. I can definitely say that.
So this name came up. So mine was in the 1992 season. Ron Tugnut and Bill Ranford were the goalies.
That's phenomenal.
Tugnut. The first line was Chris Joseph, Martin Jelena, Bernie Nichols. You know, I'd have to say my favorite player on that team.
Oh, it's Ranford.
There's so many. There's so many good players, like Scott Thornton, Kevin Todd, really recognizable players. You know what? Maybe Mac T. I always loved Mac T.
Oh, Mac T, yeah.
He's a beauty. I'm going to go with Mac T, but one name that's on here, Peter Klima. So just to kind of go on this, we're going to go back Christmas here for a second, but Peter Klima, what a great Oiler, game 1, 1990 Stanley Cup, overtime winner. Apparently he was a real big boozer when he was in or partier. I won't call him a boozer. We're going to fact check that later for Jeff later, but anyway.
Shocking turn of events.
But the Peter Klima was hanging out a lot with Bobby Probert, and I learned that from the Bob Probert documentary. If you haven't seen it, it is on the Amazon streaming service. Wow. Bob Probert. We're gonna have to do a whole podcast on Bob Probert. But anyways,
we definitely can. I've got a side story about Scott Thornton. When I was, I think my first job out of college, one of my coworkers decided to be smart to take me down to some nice seats behind the visiting players bench, and it's when Scott was playing for the Sharks. Yeah, I'm gonna say the Sharks. And I waited for a nice quiet.
Joe Thornton.
No, Scott played there.
I'm just trying to fact check you.
Come on, don't fact check me. But Scott was, I knew him. I liked him as an Oiler because he'd been there during the bad years and all that type of jazz. But I was close enough that I yelled Scott, and he turned around. And I'm certainly not going to say I made this up. I'd heard someone else yell it at one point in time. But I'm like, Scott, how's your wife and my kids? And he took the time to take off his glove and flip me off over the glass. I was probably one of the most proud moments of my life, and I will always love Scott Thornton for doing that to me.
This podcast really has turned into a smorgasbord, hasn't it?
Yeah, then next week was supposed to be the hockey one, and now we're just going away at the Christmas thing. So,
well, it's going to be exciting because we're going to have the NHL to talk about and the World Juniors in our next episode. But yeah, no, man, like Christmas movies, getting back on that train. I love that scene where Buddy steps on the nail. I could watch that 1,000 times over. And watched Elf the other day. It's a good one, but it's not a classic in my books. Maybe that's for a younger generation. But Home Alone and Family or Christmas Vacation, you can't go wrong.
Oh yeah. The one thing I am tired about the Christmas movie though is every time I turn on the news or whatever's on TV or on Twitter, anything for that matter, actually, there's the weird debate that if Die Hard is a Christmas movie. And I'm like, why are people wasting so much time on this? Who cares? Yeah, it happens to come on at Christmas. It took place at Christmas. Is it a Christmas movie? No, not really. But it's a good movie. Feel free to watch it. Bruce Willis was
I don't know. Yeah, it's a good movie. I think both of them, Die Hard 1 and 2, are surrounded by Christmas. I love Die Hard 2. That one's way better than Die Hard 1, but that's
I disagree. The only thing that's better about number 2 is that's when Carl Winslow was in it.
That's right. That's why I love it.
Family Matters. Was it Fact check me. Is it Family Matters?
You're damn straight. That's Family.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. The this is just caught off the rails so bad.
I love it. We needed a podcast to go off the rails. We gotta have some fun in 2020 because it could get worse in 2021. If we go back into a political podcast, we're going to have to bring up things like the Canadian Army training Chinese soldiers and things like that.
Oh God, yeah, no, that's a topic for another day. But
totally, yeah.
I'm sure we can definitely do a podcast about that, and hopefully
we'll fact check the shit out of each other on that one.
Oh God, no, I don't want anyone fact checking me. I am just a buffoon who sits in his house and records these with you. I don't need anyone to take me seriously about it. So
that's right, Jesse Jackson.
Except Jesse Jackson, unless you don't put away your shopping carts and you don't turn on your daylight lights on the hand day, I have no time for you. So there you go.
That's right. You're dead. You're dead to Jeff. You're dead to Jeff.
We I almost failed to bring this up, but we were talking about holiday movies, and this is a movie I had never seen before. I saw it last year and I stumbled upon it, and it's called The Holiday Inn, and starring Bing Crosby and I think it's Fred Astaire, a bunch of dancing fools and stuff like that. A time that definitely isn't in my wheelhouse. The movie was on in the background at a Christmas celebration I was enjoying with family and kin. And I look over at the TV, and there's a dude in blackface. Now, I definitely know that this was a different time, but it probably speaks to something pretty good that I was absolutely taken back by the fact that there was blackface in this movie. I think it's honestly, that's like, damn, you're a 40-year-old man. I think it's the first time I'd seen blackface other than like hearing stories about Frank Sinatra doing it when Sammy Davis Jr. was around, which I don't know why he would choose to do that, but
they were friends and
they were friends. He did that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's wild stuff. But no, it was absolutely jarring. I just couldn't believe that they had people doing blackface in this movie. As I said, different time, but the first time I think I'd ever seen it ever. It was nuts.
It's awful, isn't it?
Oh, it's totally off-putting. Like, I couldn't tell you what the rest of that movie was about. I think I watched another 2 hours of it. I was just like, what the hell is going on here?
I remember it in the background as a kid, and I think I know the scene you're talking about. I think they've actually omitted the scene from that movie now because obviously you need to do that. Like, we joke about cancel culture and things like that. Obviously, I don't want David Seville and the Chipmunks to go away. They're good people, I'm sure. The guy who wrote it sounds like
there's no way that dude was a good dude. That voiceover guy definitely drank and hit someone.
Putting a smoke out on Alvin's chest.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to work with children or animals, so he had to deal with that.
Yeah, he did both.
Anyway, yeah.
Holiday Inn, yeah, it's not cool. I'm glad they've omitted it from most. Obviously, the version you watched still had it in there. So, I
think it was on a projector. But no, I would make an argument that I think it's HBO is doing their warning before things that have jarring content like that. I actually am fine with them leaving it in, but mainly because, as I said, like I took a picture of the damn TV because I was so flabbergasted by the fact that this was on. So I think it is probably actually good to see how horrible or weird those things are so that you can put it in perspective a little bit. So I'm fine with that.
The debate is, do you leave it alone or do you take it out? The cancel culture, like, do you learn from the mistakes of the past or do you omit them? And I don't know. That's a debate. I guess that's more of a serious topic, right? Yeah, we've kind of gone down the rabbit hole on some other shit tonight, but
I think that we can revisit that in the new year when we, because I'm sure we'll have some great political talk coming up. But yeah, no, as I said, I can give my opinion on the fact that I think it should remain so that you do see it and you do learn from it. It's the same thing as like, sorry, we are going to go down the political realm a little bit, but obviously at a Southside Mall here in town, some psychopath decided to break the window where two Muslim women were trying to drive away.
What?
And, yeah, you didn't see that on the news?
I don't watch the news.
Oh, you gotta watch the news. You got to bring yourself down in the gutter so that you make yourself old fashions on a Wednesday night. But it's good to see this information on occasion where it's like you start to realize how things are, how people are acting, and then quite frankly, it's a good way to have a barometer of like how sickened you are by this type of stuff. So I said I'm fine with it being out there. So
Yeah, no, it definitely is disgusting, and yeah, I don't know.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone! Such a joyous time of the year. You know what's going to be more joyous, Jeff? And we haven't talked about everybody's favorite topic du jour on Those Canadian Lads podcast, the UFO paranormal stuff we talk about.
Obviously, I got nothing for this week.
This is great, because if you do not like that on our podcast, you're not getting any of that tonight. You're not getting a single note, except for the Great Ascension, which is scheduled for next week.
I believe it is Monday, the 21st. I'm going to say noon or 11 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So feel free to look that up in your area, see what that time it is for you. And if your wife or a son or daughter disappear around you, don't worry, they're safe with the aliens. You're just left behind.
Oh, what does that mean for us, though, if you're left behind?
I assume you're going to war against the aliens? I have no idea.
They said they were taking us to the fifth dimension.
Well, maybe some of us do, some of us don't.
Whatever even that means. I don't even know.
Whatever that means, yeah. So yeah, no.
Bunch of loons out there telling me stuff.
Well, I'll say this. Obviously, next Monday, we'll roll over. The likelihood of something happen is going to be next to nothing. So we'll re-adjourn next week, and we'll have a lovely conversation about hockey and one final Merry Christmas for everybody.
That's going to be set. So either the next podcast is going to be a game changer about the Great Ascension 2020 event 2020, or we're going to talk about the good old hockey game. Finally, World Junior Hockey Championships coming to Canada, which some people watch and apparently some people don't. Is that sacrilegious? I don't know. And then obviously it's not confirmed yet. But January 13th, the National Hockey League coming back. 56 game season, 8 games against your favorite Canadian club. Oh boy, she's going to be a beauty.
Yeah, the only shame is I won't be drunk in the stands yelling at other fans.
And getting injured.
And getting hurt. Yeah, we could talk about that too when we talk about the hockey podcast.
Oh yeah, let's go full in. We're going to go full in hockey.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give my final thoughts, really concise. Obviously, this holiday season, everyone look out for each other. Try not to be a Karen. Try not to anger Brad. And I'll say next week we'll wish you another Merry Christmas. But Merry Christmas and Happy 6th night of Hanukkah. And we'll see you on the other side.
And I'll just say one thing. I want to apologize all to the nice people named Karen out there in the world. Obviously, it's not fair that you've been all stereotyped. But that being said, these two Karens, super spreaders in Edmonton, you know who you are. Don't ever do it again. Stop it. We need to do things like going to a hockey game or going to a nice restaurant or going to a movie or letting our children play sports. How important is this kind of stuff in our society? Man, stop it. I'm going.
Did you write that closing as well?
No, I just came up with that. I just felt
from the heart.
That's from the heart. You know what we haven't done on this is I just want to thank all those people who are in the front lines. You know, whatever you think about COVID, whatever you think about anything with it, I just want to thank the people who are, out there, working in the hospitals, the nurses, the doctors, the support staff. All these people have to go into the hospitals and work extra hours. Maybe, we're not going to be spending our time with our family, but these people are going to be spending a lot of time around sick people, either from COVID or other factors with full hospitals. So thank you to those people, to the people working in the grocery stores, the police officers trying to, give people tickets for hugging Karen. I don't know. That's all I got to say, but thank you to those great people, and yeah, that's all I got to say tonight.
That's a perfect ending. So we'll leave it on that, and we'll re-adjourn for next week. Dear listener, thank you very much for tuning in. and have yourself a wonderful evening.